Hey first grade, it's Miss Van Today we are going to learn about the religion of Babylon. Our learning objectives are to review features of the ancient Mesopotamian civilization, explain the religious beliefs and practices of people in Mesopotamia, demonstrate an understanding of the word religion, and identify the religion of people in Mesopotamia, and in collaboration with peers, write about it and illustrate it. Our key vocabulary are god/goddesses, priests, religion, temples, and ziggurat. God/goddesses. Those are nouns, okay? And god/goddesses are powerful unseen rulers, both male and female, that people living in ancient times believed controlled what happened in the world. The people thanked the gods and goddesses for providing good weather. Priests are nouns, or the word priest is a noun. Priests are religious leaders, okay? The priest left food for the gods, hoping they would protect the soldiers in battle. Religion is a noun, and religion is a set of beliefs about how the world started, why things happen in it, and how people should live in it. Some holidays, such as Hanukkah and Easter, are connected to a religion. Temples is a noun. Temples are buildings created for worship and practicing religious beliefs. Ancient temples were often beautiful buildings crowned in gold. And then if you look in this picture, you can see the gold at the top, okay? Ziggurat, also a noun. A ziggurat is a tall pyramid-shaped structure with a temple at the top. The priest cared for the sun god statue at the top of the ziggurat. Where is Mesopotamia? All right, who can tell me where the continent of Asia is? What color? Green, okay, so all of this green land is part of Asia, okay? And who remembers where Mesopotamia is? Remember, Mesopotamia was in the Middle East. The Middle East is this area right over here, okay? And where was Mesopotamia? Right here in what we now call Iraq, okay? All right, so let's review these image cards. I want you to look at the pictures and tell your elbow buddy what you remember about it. Ooh, I know what I'm thinking about when I look at this picture. When I look at this picture, I think about the two rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. And I think about the canals that King Hammurabi and his men had dug. And these canals were dug into the ground. They were like little paths for the water from the river to come closer to people's houses or homes so that they could plant their crops, they could have water for drinking and all that good stuff, right? Those are the things that I think about. Did you think about anything else? All right. Okay, what about this one? What do you think about? I think about the city of Babylon, right? That's the city of Babylon. And then I think about the things that I know about the city of Babylon, like it's in Mesopotamia. King Hammurabi was a king in Mesopotamia. And King Hammurabi did all sorts of cool things for the city of Babylon. I think about how the city of Babylon probably wouldn't be there if it weren't for the two rivers. What else do I think about? I think that's about it for now. What do you think about? Anything else? All right. What do you think about this picture? I know what I think about. I think about the writing in Mesopotamia, and oh goodness, what was it called? Cuneiform. Cuneiform is the kind of the name of their writing, right? And I think about how it was different than our writing because they didn't use paper. What was it that they used? Tablets. Tablets, that's right. And they could have stone tablets or clay tablets or wood tablets. And they didn't use pencils or pens or crayons or markers. They carved in wedge-shaped symbols, right, to represent their numbers and their letters. Okay. Anything else we learned? They used writing for pretty much the same things we do, right? To keep record, to help remember things, to write down stories, write down laws, okay? And what about this picture? What is this picture? It's the Code of Hammurabi, right? And King Hammurabi came up with a set of rules or laws and named them the Code of Hammurabi. And how many rules and laws were there? Do you remember? 282. It's a lot of laws. So they wrote them down. And what was there was a rule called the Golden Rule. Do you remember what that one was? To treat other people the way you want to be treated, or to do unto others as you would have others do unto you. So let's get started on today's. So yesterday we heard a story about a father, Wored, and his sons Adin and Omor in Mesopotamia. Today we're going to hear more about this family, okay? So what did Wored explain to Omor and Adin in the previous read aloud? What did they learn about? They learned about writing, okay? And I want you to point to Wored. Which one is Wored? This one, okay, the father. And which one is Omor? The big brother, okay? All right. So a long, long time ago, before people knew much about science to explain how the world works, they wondered about nearly everything, just as we do today, okay? But they didn't have many answers. They might say, the wind is blowing from the east. Yesterday it was blowing from the west. Why doesn't the wind always blow from the same direction? They might look up at the night sky and ask, why don't these stars fall down and hit us on the head? They might wonder, why is the ocean over there and land over here? How come everything isn't just dry land or all ocean? They just didn't know. Sometimes it took a long time to get the right answers. Someone would learn one part of the answer and someone else would add something to it. This would go on and on until at last someone figured out the answer. Learning a bit at a time like this might take hundreds or even thousands of years. And guess what? It's still going on. We are still learning new things based on what people before us figured out. This is one reason it's so important to be able to read and write, so we can learn what other people have learned and tell other people what we've discovered. Way back in time, one explanation some people came up with was that the world was planned and created by powerful beings, male and female, called gods and goddesses. Gods were male and goddesses were female. They believed that each god and goddess had a power over part of the universe. These stories helped people feel less confused about their world. Okay, so the word polytheistic, okay, we're going to talk about that really quick. The people of Mesopotamia had a polytheistic religion, meaning, and polytheistic, you hear poly, okay, and poly means many. And theistic means having to do with religion. So a polytheistic religion is one in which people believe in many gods and goddesses. So not just one god or one goddess, but many. Okay? I want you to say the word polytheistic. Ready? Polytheistic. Now I want you to squish it together. Polytheistic. Good job. All right. Remember our key vocabulary: gods, goddesses, priest, religion, temples, ziggurat. Okay, so the people in Mesopotamia believed in many gods and goddesses that ruled together. Gods are male and goddesses are female. Listen to find out who the gods and goddesses were and how they were important to the people of Mesopotamia. One day, Wored and his older son, Omor, were walking in the vast city of Babylon. Omor said, I guess Babylon is the greatest city in all the world, Father. Just look at the palace of King Hammurabi. This is King Hammurabi's palace, okay? I don't suppose any other king has a palace as grand as this one. And although the city is busy and noisy and dirty, our temples, where the priests feed, clothe, and pray to the gods and goddesses for us, are calm and beautiful. So this is the temple on the top of the tall pyramid in the background, okay? Remember, temples were built to honor gods and goddesses, and that the priests were the religious leaders who lived in those temples, okay? Yes, my son, replied Wored. The temples are very beautiful, and the priests in charge of our religion make sure the temples stay that way. Remember, religion is a set of beliefs about how the world was started, why things happen in it, and how people should live in it. After all, we want our gods and goddesses to be happy. Why, if the sun god grew angry with us, he might not come up in the sky tomorrow. So the people of Mesopotamia were polytheistic. Who remembers what that word means? It means believing in many gods and goddesses. Well, that certainly wouldn't be good, Omar said. Then we could not grow food or see each other clearly. And thank goodness for Marduk, the god of our city, Wored said. He protects us and makes sure that we live well. In return, we must be sure to praise him and give him thanks for all he does for us. Let us go and visit the temple of Marduk. So remember, the Mesopotamians had different temples to honor the different gods and goddesses in which they believed. So there were lots of temples because there were lots of gods and goddesses. And each god or goddess had their own temple. Okay, so this is a picture of some of the gods and goddesses in Mesopotamia. Okay. Oh, nope, I skipped a page. All right. Ignore what I just said about what the picture was. Omar happily agreed to go to the temple of Marduk, for it was one of his favorite parts of the city. Even from a distance, they could see the lofty ziggurat rising up many feet into the air. So do you see the ziggurat in this picture? It's this right here, okay? Remember, it's a pyramid-shaped building with a temple on the top, okay? Say the word ziggurat. Ziggurat. It's a weird word, isn't it? Okay. Its wide steps climbed up and up to the small temple on top. Only the king and the priests of Marduk were allowed to go up there, but anyone could visit the base of the tower. Remember, my son, Wored said, there are many gods and goddesses beside Marduk that we must give thanks to. Okay, this is a picture of some of the gods and goddesses in Mesopotamia. I know, Father, Omar sighed. We believe that each god and goddess has a power over a specific part of the universe. One for the sky, one for the water, and one for all the plants growing out of the ground. I am just glad that Marduk is the god of our city and that we have this grand temple for him. After admiring the temple for quite a while, Wored and Omar noticed that the light in the sky was fading. Wored said, the sun god has done his work for the day and is ready to rest. It is time for us to rest as well. Then turning away from the temple of Marduk, Wored and Omar started for home. Okay, so that was the end of the story. Now we're going to do some comprehension questions and word work. If you need a wiggle break, go ahead and do that and then come right back. Okay, so today you learned that people of long ago did not have the scientific answers for the way that things happen in their world, such as how the stars stayed in the sky. How did they explain these things? What did they believe in? They told stories about gods and goddesses who they believed were in charge of different parts of the world, right? Okay. So remember that Mesopotamians had a polytheistic religion, okay? So does that mean that the Mesopotamians believed in only one god or in many gods and goddesses? Many gods and goddesses. And what kinds of things did the Mesopotamians believe those gods were in charge of? The sun, the city, the water, the sky, the plants, right? And who was responsible for taking care of the city's temples and making sure that the gods and goddesses were happy? Do you remember? The priests, right? They were like, it was the priests and the kings or the leaders were allowed to be in the temples, but everybody else had to praise at the bottom of the base of the ziggurat, right? All right, so at the end of the read aloud, Omar and Wo-Red visited the temple of Marduk, the god of their city. It was located on top of a much larger building with lots of steps. What was that building called? What was this kind of building called? What did we call this? A ziggurat. Very good. Okay. All right. So in the read aloud, you heard, and the priests in charge of our religion make sure that the temples stay beautiful. I want you to say the word religion. Religion. Can you say it like a robot? Religion. Good. Okay, can you say it in a whisper voice? Religion. Good job. So remember, religion is a set of beliefs about how the world was started, why things happen in it, and how people should live in it. There are many different religions in the world. My neighbor's religion calls upon them to go to the synagogue on Saturday, whereas my family's religion calls upon us to go to church on Sunday. Can you name something about Omar's religion? Try to use the word religion when you tell about it. How about in Omar's religion, Marduk is the god of the city, right? So what's the word we've been talking about? Religion. All right. So I'm going to read some sentences, and if the sentence describes something that is about a religion practiced by the people of Mesopotamia, say that is part of their religion. If it does not, say that is not part of their religion. Okay? The god of the sun brought the people daylight. That is part of their religion, right? Because they believed that there was a sun god who made the sun rise and then go back down, right? Only kings and priests were allowed to go into the ziggurat temples. That is part of their religion, right? Because the ziggurat temples were where, like the home of the gods and the goddesses, right? Anyone could become a god or goddess. That's not part of their religion, okay? The gods and goddesses wore party hats and ate birthday cake. That's not part of their religion. Priests fed, clothed, and prayed to the gods. That is part of their religion. Very good. All right. So I want you to look at this picture. What are some things that you learned about ziggurats and the religion of Mesopotamia? We learned that they believed in many gods and goddesses, meaning they were polytheistic. We learned that only kings and priests were allowed to go into the temple. We learned that they have gods for all sorts of things like the sun and the water and plants and one of the city, right? So this is part of Mesopotamia, the civilization of Mesopotamia. It's their religion, okay? And they had a polytheistic religion, meaning believing in many gods and goddesses. All right, my sweet friends, that is all for today. Let's double check our learning objectives. We were able to review the features of ancient Mesopotamian civilizations. Yes. We were able to explain the religious beliefs and practices of people in Mesopotamia. Yes. We were able to demonstrate an understanding of the word religion. Yes. And here in a moment, you're going to identify the religion of people in Mesopotamia and in collaboration with peers, write about it and illustrate it. All right, guys. Awesome, awesome work. See you next time.